Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all very well this evening. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. Let's go through some of the people who have popped on. We have Robin. Great to see you, Robin. We have Conservator moderating. Thanks very much, Conservator. Hope you're very well this evening. We have the Asphalt Muller. Great to see you. Hope you're well. We have Killer. Thanks for coming on, Killer, and moderating once again. We have Super. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Who else have we got? Anonymous. Great to see you, Anonymous. Raven 1983 Witch. Great to see you. Cotton Cat. Great to have you on, Cotton. Who else have we got? Ben. Great to see you, Ben. Pete. Great to see you. Good evening from Germany. Hope you're well over there. Linahan. Great to see you. We have BGVTAN. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. Let's see. Great to have you on. Kenny, great to see you, Kenny. We have who else? Dano, great to have you on, Dano. Hope you're well. Eddie, great to see you. Luke. We have John, great to see you, John. Magister, great to have you on again. Captain Levince, great to see you. Enzo, great to have you on, Enzo. Matthew, great to see you. Glasgow Kiss, thanks for coming on the stream. I like trains. Okay, train spotting. Ministerian, great to see you, Ministerian. Angels, Jean, great to see you, Jean T, great to see you once again. Red Star, great to have you on, Red Star. James, Adam, Douglas, E1WQF. Greetings from Germany. Great to see you. Geek Town. Great to have you on, Geek Town. And so many others. Okay, wow, we're up to 388 viewers. I think this is the very first time we've hit such a high number at the very beginning of the stream. So that's amazing. So everyone smash that like button. If you'd like me to read out some of your comments, you can hit me with a super chat. And I want to thank everyone for coming on the stream last Tuesday. That was a really successful one with Mark, who runs his YouTube channel and talks about Brexit and many other issues. I hope everyone was able to see the live stream with Mark. I was really successful, and we managed to raise about 200 euros, which is going to be sent to the Funky charity. And an amazing thing happened was Nico had matched that number, and he sent the same number of a donation to Funky as well. And I want to say a big thank you to Nico. That was really a wonderful gesture on his behalf. That was a wonderful thing for him to do. Thank you so much for doing that, Nico. So I hope everyone's very well. So what a week. An amazing week. So many things. Where do we start? Let me see. Let me just read some of your comments as they're coming in. Maybe I should have put this on slow, but it's okay. Not even sure what super chat is. Should be enabled. We have hello from Slovakia. Great to have you on. Well, the channel is attracting people all over the world, so that's great. I see people logging in from Hong Kong. I see people logging in from let me make the screen a little bit bigger for myself. Okay. And make the stream here a bit larger so I can see. Aquarius Pisker from, of course, from, it's Snake, sorry. I'm doing a call out. I'll see you down Longford Town for a bare knuckle. Bring a knife. Thanks very much for that super chat. So let's jump into the first topic, of course. Well, we're going to get to the United States in a little bit later on, and the madness that took place this week. But I'd like to start off, of course, with Brexit. So here's a few stories regarding Brexit, and here's a very interesting tweet I'm going to read out in a little bit. But firms halt deliveries from UK to EU over Brexit border problems. Remember when Brexiteers said this was all Project Fear, none of this was going to happen. Trade would move freely from the UK into the EU, from the EU into the UK. There would not be any problems. Or if there were any delays, they would be extremely minor. Or if there were any checks, well, don't worry, because Michael Gove had everything ready to go and there was nothing to worry about. Or if there were any problems, well, they'd be ironed out pretty quickly. Well, that's not the case. So we can see from this story here from The Guardian, it says, a growing number of retailers and courier firms were suspending or cutting back deliveries into the EU as companies grapple with the new border controls as well as import taxes. Now, I did a video today. I don't know if all of you have seen it, but it gave some examples of how people in the EU were purchasing items from the UK, and they were hit with import tariffs, customs duty. On Friday, we have another super chat. Verti, thank you so much for that super chat. Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Hello, Verti. Great to have you on. Hope you're well. So it says here DPD. So it's a delivery. Sorry, on Friday, DPD, the international delivery giant, said it was pausing its road service from the UK into Europe, including the Republic of Ireland. Separately, Marks and Spencer said it was concerned that a third of its products in its Irish food halls, including Percy Pig sweets, would now be subject to import tariffs. Such taxes could spell higher prices for shoppers. DPT said new border procedures, including additional customs paperwork needed for parcels destined for Europe, were putting extra pressure on turnaround and transit times. The company said it was returning 1/5 of parcels to the sender because they had incorrect or incomplete data attached. It also blamed delays and congestion at UK ports for its decision, as well as a more rigid requirements for channel crossings. The firm said it hoped to restart the service on Wednesday. Now, the idea that a courier service is having these problems, this isn't limited to small companies. We've seen how large supermarket chains have been experiencing these issues as well. They don't know what type of paperwork they need to complete. Surprise, surprise, says Marcus B. Yes. Good luck with your asparagus. Ermin, thank you very much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Good evening, Max. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ermin. Hope you're well. Thanks very much for that very kind super chat. Give back EU citizens to UK citizens should never have been taken away. Citizenship to UK, yes, that should never have been taken away. The Brexiteers voted for it to be taken away. It goes on to say, just a moment. Yes, it goes on to say, although the government sealed a tariff-free trade deal on Christmas Eve, it has emerged that food and clothing products are not that do not qualify as made in Britain could be hit with levies. So the problem here is that goods are coming from China, for example, and then they're being sold on from Britain to the continent, to the EU, and the EU are saying, well, these products are not made in Britain, or not enough of this product is made in Britain, so it's going to be hit with this extra cost. FSM is the dog. Thank you so much. Make UK great again. Make something in the UK, because if something is made in the UK, it wouldn't suffer as much of a consequence. But the problem is most of these products are made in China, for example, or outside the EU, or outside the UK as well, and that's why they're being affected. So it says, under the agreement, if more than 40% of the pre-finished value of a UK firm's product was not British, it would attract tariffs. Because most things, for example, clothes, there isn't really a massive clothing industry in the UK. So most of the clothes that are sold in supermarkets, for example, or in the likes of discount stores like Pennies and Primark in the UK, these clothes are produced in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in China. So that's why that they're subject to these tariffs. Boris Johnson was said to have swerved the topic of Brexit impact in a call with more than 200 business leaders earlier this week. Yes, of course. It was a meaningless call. It was all mottos. We were going to build back better, build back business better, build back business greener, and a few pasty questions about how much better it would be. Nothing about the realities of Brexit and COVID hitting us hard, said one business leader. Because, you know, you expect Boris Johnson to actually deliver on anything. Valerio, thank you so much. Valerio Tarantino, wow, thank you so much for that super chat. Very good channel on Objective. Hi from an Italian living in Bedford. Great to have you, Valerio. Grazie mille e benvenuto. Thank you so much for that. I hope you're doing well in Bedford. Thanks once again. Great to have so many people from all over the world, and even from Italy living in the UK. There is a huge community of Italians in the UK. The department store chains Debenhams and John Lewis, which recently closed its international business, are among the biggest names no longer serving the Irish market. Fortnum & Mason, the famous London department store, has also temporarily ceased shipping to Northern Ireland and EU countries. The bookstore Waterstones, which has suspended sales to customers in EU countries, as well as fashion chain Jigsaw. Retailers have been hit by the cost of customs paperwork that applies to all imports and exports, including goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. This was something that Boris Johnson said, no, this will not be the case. There will be a frictionless trade. And anyone who... what was it Boris Johnson said? If anyone requests paperwork from you, send it to me. I remember him saying that. I can't find... I'll have a look for the video. Because it'd be nice to look at go back over some of the things that Boris Johnson has said, particularly about Northern Ireland. The way he lied to the people in Northern Ireland, business owners in Northern Ireland. Kendra, hate Brexit. Yeah, Kendra, I read your comment today about the, was it you bought a computer? Yeah, it was a computer, it was an Apple computer, and you had to pay extra taxes on it. Hey Max, are you in relation to Nevin Robespierre? No, I don't want to give that away. I fear if Project Fear was a movie title, what would it be? Comedy or tragedy? A tragic comedy, perhaps, or a very bad comedy. You know, those terrible bad comedies that they pump out every year. A romantic comedy between Boris Johnson and I don't know who. Dominic Cummings? No. Nick Ferrari still spreading false narrative on LBC, so I'll have to check that out as well, because Nick Ferrari is a Brexiteer, although he pretends not to be one. He pretends to be neutral. Now, you can't be neutral when it comes to Brexit. If you're living in the UK, you cannot be neutral because it's going to affect you in some way. So you're either positive, you think it's a positive outcome, or it's a negative outcome. You can be ignorant to it, but BGC Vetian, thank you so much for that super chat. BGT Vetian, you Maximilian from Bulgaria, have it finally, here it's finally snowing. Do you think Donald will go full Napoleon, made in China's Xinjiang slave labor? There is a real fear at the moment that, I was going to say Boris Johnson, Donald Trump is has his finger on the big red button, and Nancy Pelosi and others in the Senate want to take that power away from him. There is a fear that he may launch some sort of strike, maybe on Iran, maybe on some other country, just before he goes. Some people have been saying that he could try to trash the economy, sell off assets that the US have. He has the power to really disrupt the economy just before he leaves office. I don't know the full details of that. I don't remember the full details, but there is a risk that he could attempt to trash the economy just before he goes. And there is a risk that he could try to start some sort of war. He has nothing to lose, so it's highly possible that he could do something like that. Willow, thank you so much for that super chat. Great to have. Thank you so much for that. It's great to have you on Discord. I hope you're enjoying it. It's great. You're a very valued member of Discord. What happens? What happens if the EU just forgets about the UK? It's possible. I've been watching some. I haven't been watching the videos, but I've been receiving notifications about Brexiteer videos. Puck, where are you from? I'm from Ireland, but now I live in Italy. So my accent is a little bit weird. But I've been seeing some notifications about videos on from Brexiteers, and it's they've turned their ire back to the EU. It's like the EU is about to implode. Macron and Merkel are fighting amongst each other. So that, they still need to keep those coals hot. They need to they need to maintain that rage. Andy, thank you so much for that super chat. Just a thumbs up. That's fantastic. If anyone has any comments, you can put them in the. If you have a comment, you can put it in the chat. I'll read it out. Good evening, Max. Hello to all. Artemis, great to have you on. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Have you been calling James O'Brien recently? Not that I've heard. I haven't been listening to his shows. I have to check in with James again. James is very knowledgeable on these things. Okay, so related to this, I want to read this part of this Twitter feed. This is from Peter Foster. Peter Foster is public policy editor at the Financial Times. Okay, so he says here, serious Brexit story alert. Companies now starting to see penny drop on the rules of origin. Does not supply... rules of origin does to supply chains, food for example. But Brussels seems deaf to both EU and UK pleading. A bellwether, stay with me. So let's have a look at this. But before we have another... no, that was a notification. I didn't see it. Hit the bell, yes, to stay notified to... Yes, because from time to time, YouTube... switch off notifications on your videos, so make sure that you have notifications switched on, so you ring the bell. Okay, so this is about this rule of origin. So it's a little bit what we were talking about before. So he says here, so first the problem. It's a tad complicated, but basically goods that are imported into the UK and then hubbed onwards to Ireland or other parts of the EU are facing full EU tariffs. This is particularly bad for foodstuffs, which attract high tariffs. Why is this? It's a function called rules of origin clauses. That means that goods have to be significantly originate in the UK to qualify for zero tariff entry to EU and vice versa. But to qualify, you have to do something to the goods, process them, add value, not just punt them on. I heard another notification, but I didn't see. Okay, sorry about that. So what is so you can't just buy something from China and sell it on into the EU. You have to add something to it. So he talks about this report here, does a brilliant job of explaining, but the important thing is that it's a nightmare for companies that distribute products through the UK. And that's both that's EU and UK companies. So it goes on to say, so both the Food and Drink Federation and EU groups like, and then he gives the name, Chocs, for example, said that they want EU Commission to fix this with derogation waiver, or a waiver that would that takes into account the proximity and interdependence of EU-UK supply chains. See, the problem here is that this is maybe too late. It could be perhaps something added later, but I think at the moment adding something like this would require perhaps renegotiation between the UK and the EU. And I don't think there's a lot of interest at the moment of sending Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's not very interested in going back to the EU to renegotiate some of these things. Andrei, thank you so much for that. 25, I don't know, Romanian, I don't remember the currency in Romania. But thank you so much for that. Very kind of you. So it goes on to say it's also tough on Ireland and gets a lot of its goods via the UK. As Paul Kelly, director of Food Drink Ireland, the main lobby group for the sector, companies are beginning to raise this across the industry. Now, it's true that goods could transit through the UK to Ireland or the EU, so they aren't imported into the UK. They are just passing through. But that it seems is not how the system currently works. According to both this person and someone else, the Commission could, if it wanted, apply this waiver sorting out system, so sorting this out based on previous precedences. If the EU wants to resolve the issue, it could do so pretty easily with an extra clarification. Okay, so it's not necessary for it to actually reopen the deal. It could just add a clarification. So what did the EU tell my colleague when he asked officials whether this was going to be sorted? You cannot expect Brexit not to have consequences. The UK won't be a distribution hub for the EU anymore. EU businesses will need to stop relying on UK hubs. So to translate from Brussels, that means touche. Brexit means Brexit, mon brave. Not exactly clear how you quantify the impacts of this. I'm told clothing industry also hugely impacted on this, but the EU position seems pretty stark. We shall see over the next year or two whether those who reckoned the bare bones deal David Frost negotiated is really built something to build on, but this doesn't feel that encouraging. So basically what he's saying here is that there is this restriction and it's not possible. It could be something to work on, but at the moment the EU are not interested in looking at these problems. Now, I don't know if this is the case of the EU punishing the UK. I hope that's not the case. It wouldn't be really in their character to punish the UK. But the UK decided we wanted to leave. The UK rely more on the EU than the EU relies on the UK. So I think it would require a lot for the EU to say, okay, we're going to help you out here. Because it's more a benefit to the UK than it is to the EU. Chris Ryan, thank you so much for that super chat. With the UK gone and no longer holding things up, what do you think will be the next steps towards an integrated or federalized Europe or EU? I think the EU need to take a step back first before working towards maybe a federalized Europe or a more integrated one, because there are certain countries in the EU who would be dead set against that. Now, the most popular ones at the moment are, of course, Hungary and Poland. And I'm of the idea that perhaps, and it's nothing to do with these countries, but I have a fear that the EU perhaps expanded too quickly. And it should have expanded, yes, but in a much slower way. Because I think bringing in a lot of countries was perhaps a motivation of, look at how big our market is becoming. Look at all these potential markets that we can have. And it was more a business-driven or a neoliberal-driven approach than an actual political approach. And I think the EU is going to perhaps suffer the consequences of that now, because the bigger it becomes, the more difficult it is to manage. It's much easier if you had just 20 nations or 27 or 15 or whatever. But the bigger it becomes, the more nations you add, the more difficult it is to maintain, because obviously the more nations you have, the more differences you have between nations. Piskin, another super chat, thank you so much for that. Did you see Ireland has a COVID strain from South Africa? It's a disaster here right now. I was speaking to, just before I came on the stream, I was speaking to my dad who lives in Ireland, and he's extremely concerned. He's 80. He was 80 last year, and he has to stay at home. He's not able to leave the house, and he's extremely worried about what's happening. And I wasn't familiar with the South African strain, but I know that there is the pandemic is on the rampage. I remember him telling me last year about how, in Ireland we had 300 new cases today, or we had 150 new cases. Today, I think in Ireland they had 8,000 cases. Now, that may not sound a lot to people who don't know Ireland very well, but Ireland has a very small population in comparison, for example, to the UK or to Germany or Italy. So it's a very serious situation there, and it seems to be a lot of it is related to the easing of the restrictions during the Christmas period, or the somewhat relaxing of the restrictions during that time. So it's very concerning. 8,000. Thanks for that. 1 in 50 have COVID in my area. Oh my God. Finland peaked at 800 cases on December 10th. Finland is doing an amazing job. You know, if you compare Finland to Sweden, for example, Finland are doing an amazing job. I don't know what they're doing correctly. I think it's important also to look at population density in certain countries. I would have pointed to Ireland because of its low population density as perhaps a success story, but things have gone badly recently in Ireland, so that's not perhaps something to point to. Brian, thank you so much for that super chat. We need a meetup in a cantina with good wine somewhere in Italy or Central Europe and just watch the world go up in flames. Very good wine. What would you recommend, Brian? Thank you very much for that super chat. BG says again, thank you so much for that super chat again. With UK out, will the EU army be possible? I think it depends on a number of things. I think it depends on what Putin is doing. Now, Putin has been quiet recently. If that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But it depends on what's going to happen with Russia. There have been attempts, or I don't know if there's anyone from the countries who border Russia on the stream. It'd be great to hear from you. But there seems to be attempts to influence or to increase Putin's sphere of influence in the area, and both NATO and the European Union are concerned about that. Now, would the European Union build an army? Would they set up a European army? I don't know if that's the case. Putin, not Putin, his friend Donald Trump was, in a sense, undermining the relationship between the United States and the EU. So going forward, I think with Joe Biden in the White House, those relationships will be mended, and there will be much better, much closer cooperation between. I'm ex-Russian and live in Germany for 9 years. Great to have you on, Umka. Hope you're well. But I keep connection with Russia. It'd be interesting. I'd love to do a chat with somebody from Russia to understand what's going on at the moment there, because at the moment here in Europe we don't hear much about Russia. So it'd be interesting to know what's happening. Dad's army at the ready. But I don't think it's. I think maybe if there was an idea of having a European army, it would be back on the back burner at the moment. Sorry, slip of the tongue there. I hope that didn't come true. Trump is a tool of Putin. Yes. Heard the Leavers want now to move to Ireland to be back in the EU. Yeah, that was an interesting story, a Fool of the Week. I was trying to think of a decent Fool of the Week this week, and there were so many candidates. It was difficult to choose the correct one, the best one. So I thought the leave.eu moving to Ireland was probably one of the best. Okay, I see some of the comments are coming through now. So this rule of origin is going to be an issue going forward, of course. Oops, not now. Okay, I just want to read quickly one more of these links about another one of these stories regarding Brexit. Additional direct freight link from Cork in Ireland to EU will bypass border checks. Of course, as we know, because there are more border checks, there is more bureaucracy. For example, Ireland has to trade with the EU, with the rest of the EU. It used to use the UK as a land bridge. Lorry drivers would travel from Dublin, for example, to Holyhead in Wales. They would then drive across country to the port of Dover and then cross over at Dover. Sometimes they would stop on the way, maybe for a break or a snack or something like that. But because of the uncertainty surrounding this paperwork and the costs related to that, extra bureaucracy, they're deciding to do direct routes from Ireland directly to France and to other EU nations. So shipping line CLDN is to add a second direct link between Cork and Zeebrugge in Belgium. I know I'm mispronouncing that, but some people will let me off the hook. To accommodate demand for Brexit-proof unaccompanied freight products. The second direct line from the direct service from Cork to the EU commenced today. This is on Thursday the 7th, and aims to offer more flexibility to Irish customers and ensure supply chains are maintained between Cork and the EU. Oh, just let me read. Darren, thank you so much for that super chat. Just think it's probably the last time this year sterling is worth even more pennies than the euro. Yes, the sterling at the moment is quite strong in respect to the euro, but we'll see how long that lasts, unfortunately. Finland, Verti, thank you so much for that. Finland, nothing to do with density, everything to do with trying to do the things right. Expect to have a video about this. Yes, I will have to do a video about how Finland is doing a good job. Thanks for that super chat, both of you. So it says, considering Brexit and combined with the model shift from accompanied to unaccompanied shipping, having a second direct link between Cork and Zeebrugge will bypass the UK land bridge, the company said in a statement. For importers and exporters, it means avoiding unnecessary border checks, thus ensuring cargo flows more effectively, and in a more cost-efficient manner from Ireland direct to the continent. Of course, there are problems with sending freight by sea. There are, for example, weather conditions can be a problem. Julie, thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Keep it up. I will. Thank you so much for that. So there are risks. If there are no sailings, the products can't be shipped. Then if they're not shipped, then there are tailbacks. And then of course you can only send a certain number of, because of the distance, you can't have such a frequent service. Because between Dublin and Holyhead, there was a very frequent service. Between Cork, Rosslare, and the continent, the service will be less frequent. So that will, of course, make it more expensive. But the ferry services are increasing the frequency, but it will never be the same. This is going to be, and I've said before, this is going to have a negative impact on the Irish economy. But the Irish people didn't vote for Brexit. That's the important caveat there. And here's a story of lorry drivers in Calais. So I'm stuck here. Lorry drivers in Calais begin to feel the effects of Brexit. So this was published just today. It says Roger White arrived in France at 2:30 on Tuesday with a truckload of hard cheese from Somerset. Isn't that where Jacob Rees-Mogg is from? Before Brexit, he would have rolled off the Eurotunnel train and carried on up the on the A16 to Belgium, unload his wares a few hours later at his ultimate destination in Ultruck. But 24 hours after setting foot on European soil, the 69-year-old driver from Yeovil is still sitting in his cab in the Eurotunnel compound in Calais after being asked to reverse into a special unloading bay at a newly built border control post for sanity and phytosanitary checks, SPS checks on food. I've been here since yesterday afternoon and I'm stuck here until God knows when. I have to wait until I'm cleared to go, he said. Because these are the new checks that are going to take place, that are taking place at the moment. Pilskin sent me another super chat. Thank you so much for that. I agree with Verthi. Finland gets it done and right. The Irish government made a mess, but we have a porous border with Northern Ireland and the UK. Although, so I'm trying to think of the border between Finland and its neighbours. Well, it's different, of course. But yes, Ireland has a very different border than Finland has, so it's much more difficult to close it. But I don't know how the only way I think the Republic of Ireland can sort this out is by putting pressure on the Northern Ireland Assembly, so the government in Northern Ireland, working with them and getting them to close the border with the UK, with the rest of the UK. And this is not political. This is about health. Need to restrict access because Ireland is an island. You should be able to close the border, restrict access, the same way that the UK the Great Britain is an island. It should be able to close its borders and restrict access, but it's not doing that, and it's allowing many people to come in. And this is creating more problems, and we're going to see in a moment. Gad says, I read about the alternative shipping route bypass, the UK in the Independent, all those port and support service jobs that will be lost here is just tragic, all to avoid our red tape. 738 watching and only 292 likes. Come on, guys, smash that like button, please. Yes, guys, smash that like button. I want to see 700 likes. Scotland has closed its borders. Sauna is a miracle cure. No, sauna and vodka is a miracle cure, they say. Ireland should be able to do the same thing as New Zealand. It should. This should be. It's not an issue. It's not a political issue. It's a health care issue. It's public health issue, I should say. Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland work together and say we need to restrict access to the island of Ireland. The virus doesn't have passports, as we know. The virus doesn't care about your nationality or your political background, your political beliefs. It doesn't care about any of that. Putin is not a conservative. Sauna, vodka, and wood tar. Ah, that's a new one. Wood tar I didn't know about. Thanks for that, Yoni. I must check it out. Must find a sauna nearby. I can get some vodka, wood tar. Maybe I can get it in the hardware store. Anyway, back to this story. He knew there was trouble ahead when he drove off the shuttle, and the electronic display assigned him an orange lane instead of green, indicating that he would be subject to an inspection by authorities. I think they are panicking on the English. They're picking on the English trucks, maybe, he said, as there was nothing wrong with the cheese, just missing paperwork. Until it arrived, he would not be free to go. I'm just waiting here. It's terrible. No good at all. A driver for 48 years, White remembers what it was like before the single market in 1993 swept away the trade barriers that Brexit has re-erected. We had customs checks before, but it was so well organized on the border, he remembers. Everybody is learning as they go. You can do your preparations beforehand, but it's not enough. All of this is new to everyone, and unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it. We just have to get used to it, he said. Eurotunnel traffic is exceptionally low 7 days after Brexit, with drivers and exporters still avoiding the port and channel train services, particularly because of pre-Brexit stockpiling and partially because business is conventionally quieter at the first 2 weeks of the new year. This is something very important to remember. And Brexiteers will tell you, oh, look at the port. It's quiet. There's nothing happening. Senior Brexiteers or people who will come on my channel have used this excuse as well. Look at the port. There are no trouble. There is no trouble. Project Fear. You're just scaremongering. But the reason that there is very, very little traffic is because people are avoiding it. And we just looked at a story about how companies are not shipping because of Brexit. In normal times, 6,000 to 9,000 heavy goods vehicles cross the channel each day. But the Department of Transport said just over 2,000 heavy goods vehicles crossed on the 6th of January, the day of the Guardian's visit, with 90% of the trucks border ready. It tested 1,081 drivers for COVID that day, with 6 coming back positive, bringing the number of tests carried out on drivers to 46,563 since the chaos on the 23rd of December. So this is something important to remember about all of this, is that it's permanent. It's not something that will be fixed by hiring more staff or throwing money at the problem. This is paperwork that needs to be completed. Yeah, John Redwood said there'd be no problems in Dover. And John Redwood was lying, of course. But John Redwood is not going to be affected by that. That's why he's going to say there would be no problems. I'd like for people who have problems to, to send the documents to John Redwood, because maybe he can sign it off and say it's not necessary to complete this paperwork. He's been telling people for years Brexit is not going to impact their lives in any negative way. It's a tosspot. I expect more people on the dole. There's still no vaccine. There's still no vaccine for Brexit. Hard cheese. Liz Truss's reputation is tarred. We cannot export cheese. That is hard. Though it may seem absurd, she just can't move her curds, and she hasn't a deal yet for lard. Very good, Wee Scott's dog. I'm terrible at reading poetry, but I try. Tom, thank you so much for that super chat. If 10% of trucks are not ready on a normal day, they're going to need a lot of hamsters. This is the thing, it's 1% is going to create problems, could create tailbacks. 10% is going to create a lot of problems. Redwood reminds me of the Thatcher years. Irish passports are king now in the UK. There was a huge flurry for passports. Sing to rhythm of Dolly Partner's Jolene. Sweet surrender. Rolling blackouts and food banks, says Sean. Yes. Eric says it's just Antifa disguised as hauliers. It's all an attempt to blacken John Redwood's name. What do you think? How many decades will it take to fix the mess in the UK, or whatever will be left instead of, for example, Little England? It depends on what you mean by fix the mess, because Boris Johnson, it's not going to be fixed when Boris Johnson leaves office. Boris Johnson will be replaced by another Brexiteer. I'm thinking Rishi Sunak. But Rishi Sunak is quite different to Boris Johnson. Rishi Sunak is able to respond to statements by Keir Starmer, for example. So I don't think it's going to be fixed in the next number of years. It's going to take much longer than that. But the UK will not. Well, the UK will not exist within 10 years. Everything the Brexiteers are doing, everything Boris Johnson is doing, everything the Tories are doing, are strengthening the call for Scottish independence. You know, it would be better if the Brexiteers and Boris Johnson and the Tories just said nothing. They would actually help the union if they just kept quiet. But they can't. They keep attacking the SNP, and you know the SNP. If the SNP were a minority party in Scotland, and the Tories were attacking them in this way, then you could sort of understand. You could understand the logic behind it. But if what I mean by this is the Tories attack the SNP and say the Scottish people don't like you. The Scottish people are not supportive of the SNP. The SNP don't represent the Scottish people. But if the SNP are continually winning elections, and more young people are starting to support the SNP, you don't have to agree with the SNP, but you just have to look at the situation on the ground. The Scottish people are more and more supportive of the SNP. So every time you attack the SNP, you're actually, in a way, attacking the voters. And that's not, I think, a good approach. You can attack policies. Say this policy is not working. Then you don't have to call out the SNP. You can call out the policy. People in their minds would associate the policy with the SNP. But the entire approach that the Tories have and Boris Johnson have is ridiculous. It's almost as if they wanted Scotland to become independent. You know, calling devolution a disaster, talking about once in a generation, saying that, you know, Brexit is going to be a success for the Scottish people, that they're going to give back power to the Scottish Parliament. Like, the Tories don't want to give power to the local councils in England. Why would they want to give more power to the government in Holyrood? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let me just check something. So guys, we're about halfway through the stream, so I just want to lighten the mood a little bit before we move on. Just a moment. This video is a little bit old, but it's a little bit out of date, but it's still enjoyable. So we'll just so if you're new to the stream, I know some people may have just some people are new to the stream, so welcome to the stream, anyone who's just turned up. Great to have you on the stream. We're about halfway through the stream. Normally at the halfway point I put on a little funny video just to lighten the mood, and then we get back to the serious talk in a moment. So let's see this.
Well, happy 2021 everybody, and winter is coming. Out there it's like an ice rink, and here went Torvill and Dean right on Mars. Bottom line is, this virus is mutated, and we're going to have to go right back into March lockdown again. I've been asking people all year to stay in the house if you can, wash your hands, stay away from each other. Remember the 2 Alsatians rule, 2 metre, 2 full Alsatians apart. Obviously, a lot of people have been following the rules, some people haven't. So we're going to have to shut down the schools, shut the shops, the whole fucking things, tools in the store, we're back to square one. I'm asking you all not to go out fuck this off and end up the NHS is going to be overwhelmed. It's that simple. And it doesn't matter how many people in the opposition say what you're doing about this. I don't have a crystal ball. We've got the vaccine. We're trying to roll it out. We're asking everybody to do their fucking best and try and keep away from each other. That's the only way this virus is going to be under control. So let's...
Okay. Okay, that was it, ended. So let's move on. Well, she mentioned the virus, so let's move on to the virus. Okay. I love her tells. My God, the brogue. Waterstones have European branches in Paris, Brussels, and Amsterdam. Does this mean they've gone? No, it's if anyone has if any UK company has a branch in a European country, then they're able to sell products without these tariffs. It's the problem is if goods are moving across the border, that would be the problem. So if the goods are sourced, for example, in Amsterdam and sold in Amsterdam, then that's not going to be a problem. But I'm thinking of when you say about that Waterstones is a bookstore, so I can imagine, you know, books that are printed in English, if you want to buy them, they may be more expensive because they're published in English, printed in England, published in England, or in the UK, and they have to be transported across the border, and then there will be probably tariffs on those. Okay, I just want to read. So this shocking figure for COVID in the UK today. This is a daily reported deaths at new high as 1,325 people die within 28 days of a COVID diagnosis. A further 1,325 people have died within 28 days of testing positive for COVID-19, the highest number of UK deaths reported on a single day since the outbreak began. Government figures showed that 15,408 people have tested positive in the last 7 days, an increase of 29.9%. What's very shocking about this as well is this north-south divide. So this is a tweet from Josh Halliday. Says a north-south divide is clear as day as these COVID death figures. More than 12,000 people have died in the northwest, nearly 1 in 5 of England's total, at a rate 2.5 times higher than the southwest and nearly double the southeast. Astonishing. So why is that the case? Is it because of, is it political? Is it because of well, an extension of politics, the idea that these areas are more deprived, the Tories don't care about them, that for example, the local leaders are trying to do their best and have their hands tied behind, one hand tied behind their back? What is the reason for this? I know there are some people on the stream who live in the north, and it's maybe they can shine a light on this, because for me it's extremely concerning that you have now a north-south divide. Here in Italy we have a north-south divide. The northern part is the richer part of the country. The southern part is the poorer part, and they are suffering much more. From California here to get Brexit updates. Madam Clark, great to have you on. Hope you're well. Thank you very much. Hope everything is going okay in California. I have many friends in California actually. Great to see you. Welcome to hell. It just gets worse. Eileen O'Reilly Porter writes, Ireland 1,153 hospitalised and 109 in ICU. Do you know the capacity at ICU? Because I know I've heard that in Ireland the capacity it's very close to capacity. I know someone who's paramedic who's just received their vaccination today, so that's a step in the right direction. Let me see. Yes, there are massive socio-economic divide in the UK between the north and the south. Must be socio-economic, as it cannot be due to higher age cohort, as life expectancy is highest in the south. Yes. In England, 28,246 in hospital. We're hitting capacity. And then what happens? That's the worrying aspect of all of this. We're not seeing the numbers come down. We're getting very close to capacity, in particular in the UK and in Ireland. France seems to have gotten a bit of a grasp on this, but in the UK and Ireland it seems to be out of control. And I don't know what Ireland is going to do if they hit ICU capacity. I don't know if they've already cancelled non-COVID interventions, operations. But I know in some parts of the UK they have decided, I read somewhere, I think it was in The Guardian, where they have lowered the threshold for oxygen depletion levels, or oxygen levels in the blood. Normally these would be the threshold to send people into hospital was like 93% or 92%. Sorry, if it was, I think it was, if it had dropped to 92% or something like that. And no, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Yes, so if it had dropped down to something like 92%, you could be sent to hospital. Now they say you can't be sent to hospital unless it's dropped to something like 80%. So this is excluding a lot of people who, yes, Max, it's apparently 90% now. Elective operations have been cancelled in Ireland. So maybe I'll let someone else comment on this in the chat, because I'm going off memory, and my memory is not the best, but I know that they've changed the oxygen level requests. Several Welsh hospitals are at stage 4. Oxygen saturation now is 90%. I know it was something like 92% or something. Dropped from thank you very much, Katerina Broyce. Dropped from 93% to 90%. Piskin, thank you so much for that super chat. My COVID ill friend was sent home from hospital in Dublin because they needed a bed. My God. And the healthcare system in Ireland has always been struggling. It's always been underfunded. I know that it has been chronically mismanaged because of issues regarding consultants and a cartel within the medical profession to limit the number of new doctors coming in. Now, I don't know if this has changed in recent years, but I remember it when I was younger. And of course, you still get heart attacks and strokes and things like that. That will go into intensive care units. Generally speaking, Max, here in the north of England, life expectancy is lower. Deprivation is higher in urban areas. Most jobs are in SE. Massive flows of people away from the north and south. So most people, yes, it's like in Ireland, for example, most people flock to the cities. Dublin, for example, away from the country. Healthy people have an O2 saturation level of 96 to 100. Bluster Boris screwed it up again, delaying and delaying. I couldn't agree more, Hugo. Boris Johnson has always been looking over his shoulder, not at the virus, but at his backbenchers. What can I do that doesn't piss off the backbenchers? He's always put himself first. Instead of, reaching out to the opposition and saying, look, give us the support we need. We want to do the right thing. Form a government of national unity if necessary to get through this crisis. But no, it's always about protecting himself. Andrew, thank you so much for that super chat. 1 in 30 COVID in London. 1 in 30. It's out of control. So this is related to this video I want to show next. Here it is with Sadiq Khan, who talks about how there is a crisis in London at the moment. Conservator, at 95%, I was out of breath lying in my bed. So when the threshold has been moved from 93 to 90, that means that you'll have people who will be out of breath at, who will be having breathing problems at 93% and will not be sent to hospital or not treated. Geektown says, my dad is a cardiologist and is seeing dozens of heart attack victims in cardiac arrest being sent home, and they don't have beds. Geektown, sorry I didn't notice where you were from before. Can you tell us where you're from, if you don't mind? Do you live in the UK? That's 2 to 3 million people. Yes, Max, I also believe that the virus is out of control in the UK. Slovakia has 1 in 10 in Natra. You live in London, my God. So they're sending people home, even with serious heart conditions, heart issues. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the super chat. I'm off. Have fun, Max. See you soon. See you soon, Mark. Thanks for coming on. I hope to hook up with you again very soon. We'll talk about some Brexit issues, I'm sure. Okay, I want to show you this video from Sky News.
Has declared a major incident as hospitals and emergency centres across the capital struggle to cope with coronavirus admissions. Well, I'm joined now by the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan. A very good afternoon to you. Just how bad is it in the capital?
Good afternoon. The virus is out of control. The NHS is at risk of being overwhelmed. What I mean by that is that we're at risk of the NHS hospitals running out of beds over the course of the next couple of weeks if the virus continues to spread and people continue to be hospitalised. You'll be aware that across the country, on average, 1 out of 50 people have this virus. In London, on average, it's 1 out of 30. In parts of London, it's 1 out of 20. The ambulance service in London does an amazing job. On average, they would respond to 5,000 calls a day on a busy day. They're responding to between 8,000 and 9,000 calls a day. So we've already diverted some of our firefighters to drive ambulances. And over the course of the next few days, police officers will begin driving ambulances as well.
This is insane. So firefighters are driving ambulances. Police officers are doing it as well. My GP surgery has phone only for months. Has skin cancer scare and agreed after a lot of complaining to see me. I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. TSK. I hope everything's fine now. Where are the newly opened hospitals that cost a few millions? 125,000 vaccines in the NHS at the moment and increasing as EU folk head home. Not sure what that's about. Max, what's happening with... wonder what's happening with the Nightingale hospitals. See, the problem with the Nightingale hospitals is that they don't have the staff. So you can have a hospital, but if you have no staff to put in it, then you can't open the hospital. You can't operate the hospital. Yes, everyone is saying the same thing. You can have 100 hospitals. You could build 1,000 hospitals, but if you don't have the nurses and the staff and the other staff required to run these hospitals, then they're useless. And some people have been saying that they have been used by the government. It's glum tonight, yes. Exactly, Max, no staff. If only the virus got blocked at customs. That would be a benefit of Brexit. Finally, something good from Brexit. It can't get through the customs. It forgot to sign. It forgot it to cross the I and dot the I and cross the T on its application. There have been calls to open up the Nightingale hospitals, limited staff. There is talk near me about that they will reopen it as a rehab hospital rather than acute. Yeah, that could be a possibility. So to have the hospital for non-COVID use, so that at least people get some sort of treatment. But then, of course, you would have staff that would be needed in both hospitals, because someone had the fantastic idea over the last 10 years of underfunding the NHS. Somebody had the fantastic idea of not hiring enough staff. Because there was, I truly believe there was an approach to underfund the NHS, hoping that it would get worse and worse, so that more and more people would go privately, and then eventually this would help the government sell off the NHS to completely privatize it. Then COVID arrived and they realized this was a bad approach. Terry, great to see you on the stream. Hope you're well. Also, the UK has heavy drinking culture. Literally an episode from Westminster covered a hospital costing the nation but no medical staff. Also, the Euro sausage on the crossover episode to US Prime Minister. Is this the best guide to poor Tory policy? It's probably that's the best. If you want to understand the Tories, Yes Minister from the 1980s is a good way, is a good approach. I don't want to focus too much on this because it's extremely negative, but something has to be done. This is about these the highest number of deaths suffered by the UK since the pandemic began. This report from Channel 4. So let's have a look at some of this, and then we'll have to move on because it's extremely depressing. I understand.
Information from the First Minister that the lockdown in Wales will continue for at least another 3 weeks, and that schools will remain closed here for most pupils until the half term, or at least until there's a significant drop in COVID rates. There was a dip recently in the rates in Wales, but Mark Drakeford today said that they were edging back up again. And all of this comes against a backdrop of terrible figures. Another 56 COVID deaths in Wales, and that's among the 1,300, record 1,300 UK-wide figure, which is staggering, really. And the NHS is under huge pressure right now. A record number of COVID patients in critical care in Wales in this second wave. And when you look at this pressure, it's having an impact not just on critical care, it's right through the system, right through to emergency departments. And that has implications not just for COVID patients, but for anyone seeking emergency care. We spent the morning at an A&E department here in Merthyr Tydfil at this hospital. It is coping, but as you'll see, only just.
Ward 3 have 18 COVID patients, Ward 7 have 23 COVID patients, Ward 10 have 23 COVID patients.
The day has barely dawned, and at the Prince Charles Hospital in Merthyr Tydfil, already the difficulties have surfaced.
105 at the time of the report, and 2 deaths overnight.
Over 100 patients with confirmed COVID up on yesterday, and now more than double the numbers seen at the height of the first wave.
Well, I've worked here since 2004 as an A&E, from staff nurse up to sister, and this is the worst I've ever seen it. This is the most pressure we've ever been under, I think.
Morning, Jill.
Morning.
One by one, they're asked what bed space they've got, but it's not enough.
So we could be in a minus position of -6 beds for today's intake, is where we start the day off at.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you have such a deficit of available beds. Patient after patient, on trolleys parked in the corridors of A&E, some very sick, all waiting for beds elsewhere in the hospital.
And I'm just thinking, doesn't this... your man off the telly, thank you so much for that super chat. Great stream as always, Max. I'm going to watch some videos of puppies to cheer myself up. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, probably a good idea. But of course, the problem is if you have people infected and sitting in trolleys in corridors, this is going to increase the risk.
Wilma Cooper, who's 90, had been here since 1 a.m. Have you been here in this trolley since you got in?
Yes.
Have you managed to get some sleep?
No. Be truthful about that.
You haven't had any sleep?
No.
How would you describe how busy it's been here since you've been admitted?
Crazy. Absolutely nuts.
As soon as we can find someone to examine you, we'll get you on the move and we'll get you sorted. All right, bear with us.
The patients on the corridors aren't suspected to have COVID. Those that are kept in cubicles to reduce the risk of transmission. In busy winter periods, patients do end up on trolleys in corridors here, but what staff say makes this time different is just how constant this pressure is and how regularly every single bit of corridor space is taken up by patients waiting on trolleys.
There's nothing. Every room we've got, all the cubicles are full, our recess is full, minors is full. We even have bed weights over in minors every single day where we cannot bring the bed weights over because A&E is full to bursting.
And of course, you have to remember the pressure that's put on these staff. The staff are not able to cope. The staff are risking getting infected. It's an absolute disaster. How do we get out of this? I don't know. We had hoped that the vaccine would help us get out of this, but we have to wait for the vaccine. We have to wait for it to be effective. Campbell, dodgy politics, though, likes to praise Boris a lot. Dr. John Campbell promotes vitamin D, D3. That's so sad. Yeah, Boris, herd immunity. Take it on the chin. Boris Johnson should resign. Now, I've called for Boris Johnson to resign before, but... Oh, we have a few... Mention COVID and you have the trolls appear. Boris Johnson should resign because this is an absolute disaster. Now, he should be replaced with somebody better. I don't know who's better than Boris Johnson, but he's running this... He's dealing with this pandemic, with this crisis, by always looking over his shoulder and saying, okay, are my backbenchers going to start a rebellion and remove me from power? I think he also believes in maybe some luck will fall from the sky. You know, there will be some, I don't know, Deus Ex Machina will arrive and save the day. You know, if I just hold out long enough. This isn't a movie, Boris. You have to stand up and you have to deal with this crisis. You wanted to be Prime Minister. If you're not up to the job, you should just resign and give it to someone else. James, thank you so much for that super chat. Do you think in the future the whole country will look back on the government's decision to relax rules over Christmas as an absolute disaster? Yes, I think they will. And I think it's not just the rules over Christmas, but all that has come before that. Go to work, don't go to work. Use public transport, don't use public transport. Don't wear a mask, do wear a mask. All of these things created confusion. Eat out, don't eat out. Get a test, don't get a test. All of these things created confusion, and all of these things fed into this, what's happening at the moment, I think. But also, I think the biggest problem is Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson has to take responsibility for this. I do not accept for one moment that Sage was giving him bad advice. Sage were probably telling him on a daily basis, you need to lock down, you need to lock down, you need to lock down. And his response would be, not yet. Or let's give it another few days. Or another few weeks. Let's wait a bit. Dr. John ain't no. So yes, so I noticed some of you in the chat are talking about Dr. John. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about how much. And it's a bit ironic me saying this. I always say, don't accept what I say. Do your own research. And I'm afraid a lot of people are putting a lot of credibility in Dr. John. And I don't know. I don't know if that's correct or not. I would prefer to listen to Sage or Independent Sage when they release information, because I think they are a group of doctors, a group of specialists, a group of experts. It's not just one person speaking. And while Dr. John says a lot of things that sound quite logical, I think it's important not to put too much emphasis on what he says, because he's not a specialist. He's not an expert. Or if he is, he's just one. He's not a team. That's why Sage is not just one guy, one expert talking. It's a group of people. Sage gave advice. Boris ignored it. And I think he ignored it because he was afraid it would... would you take advice from a dead pianist? Sorry, I don't get that joke. Correct. Go with Sage, because they are the experts. It's not just, if I ask one, that's why you have a second opinion. When you should have a second opinion from a doctor. If you're concerned about your health, go to one doctor, then go to another doctor, and then if the two of them say the same thing or the third one says the same thing, then it's probably that thing that you have. But if they say different things, then you need to get another opinion and another opinion until you can build up you can build an understanding of what the problem is. I go with Independent Sage. The official Sage is a government appointment. I think the problem with Sage itself, and it's not Sage is giving bad advice and giving out wrong information. I think the problem is that they are telling Boris Johnson the right thing, but Boris Johnson is saying, the press release, don't talk about this or don't talk about that. Boris Johnson is more about defending Boris Johnson. I trust what Sage is doing. I'm pretty sure they're giving him good advice. My problem with it is that Boris Johnson is ignoring it. John usually is rounding up what Sage Independent says, CDC and WHO and other medical bodies are saying. Often a roundup. Okay. So once again, I'm not very familiar. Thanks for that super chat, Vicky. Very kind of you. I'm not that well informed about what John says. I've seen a few of his videos, and they seemed quite good. The information seemed to be spot on. But I think it's important not just to follow some YouTube video, okay? Even if it sounds like it's coming from someone who knows. Okay, let's move on. I want to leave COVID for a bit. Sorry, I have my link here. Just a moment. And we crossed the pond to the madness. The madness of King George. Tom, thank you so much for that super chat. Michael Gove said the British people were sick of experts. Now it looks like they're sick. They're sick despite of experts, yes. The experts are telling them and they're still getting sick. I just want to show you this. Of course, Donald Trump. My God, what a week. Let me see this.
I would like to begin.
So Donald Trump told his, people can call them supporters, I call them sycophants. Donald Trump told his sycophants to march on Congress, basically, on the Capitol Hill. March on the Capitol Hill. And of course, he was either too lazy. It's like, well, I can't fit, I can't go down there with a golf car. I'm not going to walk it. Imagine how that would have been if Donald Trump had actually walked in front of these people and them cheering him on and him cheering them on. That would have been a sight to see, wouldn't it? If he was there, with a hammer breaking the door, he wouldn't have done that. Seditionists, yes. He wouldn't have done that because he's a lazy bastard, okay? Maybe the bone spurs would have, the pain from the bone spurs would have kicked in. Traitors. But he sent them down. They wreaked havoc. I did an impromptu live stream on it. It was insane. El Diaper. I love the comments. Hi Nicole, welcome to the live stream. Trump can't lift up. Bro, do you lift? Do you even lift? But he sent them down. They created havoc. They undermined democracy. They thrashed the place. Some people even said that they may have actually infected the place as well, because no doubt some of them had COVID and they were touching everything. They were licking doorknobs. And Trump, what he did was he told them, okay, it's guys, you've had your fun. It's time to go home. You shouldn't be doing this. It's best to go home. Go in peace. Ministerian, thank you so much for that super chat. I thought the writers of the last season of Black Mirror had gone a bit too extreme. With the new season starts extreme as well. Pilskin, thank you so much for that super chat. Mussolini was Il Duce. Trump is Il Diaper. Fantastic. I call him Agent Orange. Anyway, we all have our names for Donald Trump. But after Joe Biden intervened and said, call those idiots off, basically, in a more diplomatic way, Donald Trump eventually went on TV and he said, okay, everyone, you need to go home. You've had your fun. Then, of course, he had to take his dig at the system by saying, it was stolen from us anyway, and it wasn't correct, and the Democrats are still the enemy and stuff like that. And then he released, after that, he released this statement. And I want to show you this statement. This is a very interesting statement. It seems that Donald Trump has finally realized the end is coming. And this is a very strange speech. It's probably the very first time he seems, now it could be all fake, but it seems that he has finally understood. The penny has dropped, that he has to go and he can't stay. So I want to show you this.
Begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem.
Now, this is interesting because he's basically calling out his supporters here. He's saying that my supporters have been acting terribly, and they're going to react in a moment to his speech, and they feel quite disappointed, to put it mildly, as to what Donald Trump has said. This video was edited. Sorry, this video was edited? Really? That he didn't actually... Not Trump's words. What? He's reading from a teleprompter. Oh no, I'm surprised. It was a panty raid. Trump wanted a pair of... Oh God, Chris. I was like, what? Trump wanted a pair of Nancy Pelosi's knickers before he leaves office. To do what with them? Nah, Chris. But are you saying this was not real? Max, don't believe a word Trump is saying. The only reason Trump is saying this because he probably get into trouble with the law if he didn't. Yeah, no, I understand that. Or maybe you're right. He realized it's not that he realizes. It was definitely not spontaneous. No, this was prepared, of course. But I think some of the things he says in the video, in a way, can't get him off. He can't get away with. Now, no mention. No one mentioned mankinis. Okay, well, let's continue.
Immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order.
So the idea of him saying that in the intruders, he's completely, of course, as you guys have said, this is somebody else wrote this. Of course, Donald Trump didn't write this speech. It was written for him. But of course, he would have to agree to say it.
The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy.
These are serious words. This is going to piss off his base. This is why I think he has understood that he has to go. Because you don't piss off your base. By pissing them off, that means that he doesn't expect them to support him any longer. And he has been fighting tooth and nail to remain in the White House. By delivering this speech, I think he's saying, it's over. You guys, it's over. I'm not coming back. Now, knowing Donald Trump, the day after, he'd say, no, I didn't mean any of that.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just...
Wow. You know, I know this is something someone else wrote, but this is powerful.
Just been through an intense election and emotions are high, but now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections.
Now, of course, that's a big pile of crap, but he didn't say it was stolen. He didn't say it was taken from me. It must have been really difficult for Trump to stay on script here. I can only imagine the threats that they were making. We're going to remove you from office now. Read this speech or you're out the door this minute. The Democrats are building a case and they'll have you out within 24 hours. So read this bloody speech if you don't want to be removed from office in the next 24 hours. And I think Trump bit his tongue, or held his tongue, and said, "Okay, I'll read this speech." Now, what he'll do on Twitter after remains to be seen.
Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family.
It almost sounds as if this was Obama's speech, and they just changed a few words and got, read this. This is a man who has been banned from Twitter, but still has access to the nuclear codes. What could possibly go wrong? I think Red Star, what they're trying to do is they're trying to limit his access to those codes. Nancy Pelosi said that they're working with the military to limit his abilities at the moment. We will see. No, because if he was to call a strike on Iran or something, this would be insane. But we've lived through insanity. Let's not turn it up to 11, okay?
We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning.
What does he mean by that?
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
What does he mean by our journey is only just beginning? So up until that stage, I was thinking, okay, this isn't too bad of a speech. He's given in, he's lost, he understands that, or he's pretending to understand, or he's saying that he understands that. Here we go, a dog whistle. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, a dog whistle. The idea of the journey just begins. So what is he going to do after this? Dig whistle. It means the fight is not over, Max. 2024. I think he's going to do a Nigel Farage going forward. He's going to sit on the sidelines, and as soon as Joe Biden is in the White House, he starts saying, "Why aren't you doing something about the pandemic? Why are there so many people dying? You're doing nothing. There are thousands of people dying every day. Why aren't you listening to the American people? The American people are dying." He's going to go into that sort of mode. Exactly like Nigel Farage. Not presenting any solutions. Of course, he had ample opportunity, to present a solution to this. He's responsible for most of these deaths. But he was sit on the sidelines, exactly like Nigel Farage. Probably that's why he's been having meetings with Nigel Farage, getting tips on how to do these things. And he'll say, Biden is doing a wrong thing. Biden should be doing this. Biden is doing that. Unfortunate, Natalie, thank you so much for that super chat. Tories rolled out herd immunity on the 12th of March, 2020. Highly recommended to look at Led by Donkeys timeline of events. It's mind-blowing. Stay safe all. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you, Natalie. Yeah, Led by Donkeys is amazing. Is amazing. They've covered so many things about Brexit as well. It's very interesting to check out. I feel like someone who has made a Fox News substitute called Trump News. Yeah, no, they've already. I think Trump has already thrown his support behind some other weird news network. So he's abandoned Fox News and he's moved on to another one. But I don't know how successful Trump will be going forward, because nobody wants a loser. And that's what I would, if I was to criticize Trump, I would just keep calling him a loser. Loser, loser, loser. Every time, Trump says something about Biden should just say, "Shut up, loser." Because in America, the idea of a loser is detrimental to a politician, I think. I'm not an expert, but I do have this feeling that the best way to deal with Trump is to hit him where it hurts, his ego, and just keep calling him a loser. If I was interviewing him, I'd say, "And let's welcome on to the show, the loser of the 2020 election, Donald Trump." Continually use the word loser, loser, loser. It's the only way to deal with him. And I hope Joe Biden does that. Yukiwana, thank you so much for that super chat. There's no way Trump will live to see 2022. He will either be abstinated, or actually just not make it after this, mauled by his own dogs or his body. He's not in good shape. What you see on the screen is makeup. Thanks again for that super chat. But he's not going to last too long. I'm sorry for him. Okay, loser. New meme. Yes. What was it? Okay, boomer. Okay, loser. Get that girl to do that. What was it? Dancing or whatever. When she go, okay, boomer. Okay, boomer. Get her to go, oh, okay, loser. Okay, loser. It'll go viral. Or I'll do it. Okay, I'll threaten to do it. Anyway, so how did his supporters react to this? Well, Trump fans cry betrayal as he rebukes Capitol violence. So Donald Trump's belated concession to a peaceful and orderly transition of power after storming the US Capitol has provoked anger and conspiracy theories among some of his most ardent followers. On social media channels and chat rooms like Parler and 4chan, where far-right Trumpists have grativated as some other social medias have, some social media sites have increasingly shut out the president. There were complaints of betrayal. Trump claimed on Thursday that he was outraged. Okay, we heard about that. Nevertheless, they prompted an outpouring of anger, grief, and denial from his hardline acolytes. A punch in the gut, said one. A stab in the back, another railed. From a third, I feel like puking. You align yourself with a narcissist, and then when the narcissist demonstrates that they're a narcissist, you feel bad about it. I don't understand these people. A widely shared screen grab show summed up a sentiment. He says he's going to be wild, and when he gets wild, he calls it a heinous act, and middle fingers to his supporters he told to be there. Others turn to conspiracy theories, not least in the dark corners of 4chan and Parler, where the cult of QAnon holds sway. Many here saw not a Trump concession, but either a deep fake video concocted by Trump's enemies, or secret messages that indicate Trump was still on track to deliver QAnon deranged promises. I don't think there's much point reading any more of this. It's just insanity. Some of these people will Trump supporters are true. Trump supporters are a fringe. Trump supporters who will believe that this is all fabricated are another fringe, and these people will remain with him. He could come on TV and eat their children, their firstborn, and they would still support him. There are people who will support him no matter what he does. Umka, thank you so much for that super chat. Trump is just a symptom of society, where half the people ready to elect pathological liar in order to punish elites. But Biden and Dems are also not ready to address true causes of US problems. I agree 100%. Trump is a symptom. Trump is not the real problem. And I've said this before. If the Democrats don't reach out to the poor and the working class, you're going to get another Trump-type figure in the future. My fear is that, and I've said this before, people did not vote against Trump. Sorry, people did not really vote for Joe Biden. They voted against Donald Trump. It's the same took place with the Senate seats. People said, if I vote for the Democrats, this is going to punish Trump in some way. I'm going to punish the Republicans. They were not voting for the Democrats. They were voting against the Republicans. Now, this policy will work. This approach will work for a while. But when you're in power, you need to build on your base. And I'm afraid the Democrats are going to say, oh, look, we're back in power. Business as usual. And they're not going to learn from this. They need to give the poor and the working class something to vote for. They need to strengthen, for example, trade unions, work with trade unions, get trade unions to speak to members, to the working class. They need to connect to the working class. I don't know how, but they were able to do it in the past. They need to go back to the working class. They need to be the party of the working class. Because if they don't, the Republicans will take that spot instead. The same as the Labour Party in the UK. The Labour Party need to reach out to the working class. You need to provide them something. Provide them a reason to vote for you. If you do that, then you say the other side want to take that thing away from you. It could be a UBI, for example, or it could be something that's valuable. You say, I have given you this. The other side want to take it away from you. You need to vote for me to maintain this. Instead, what's happening is the Democrats are saying, vote for us to stop Donald Trump. But once Donald Trump is gone, then what's the motivation for people to vote for you? If your position has always been, I'm not Donald Trump, okay, they'll vote for you once if it's about keeping Trump out. It's another problem in France. I see this, and this is very risky. In France, when the far right run in the presidential election, the second runoff, or if they get to the second runoff, it's always about let's ally together, let's form a unity against the far right to keep the far right out. It's not about let's provide something to the working class, to the left, to ordinary people, give them something to vote for. No, it's about stopping the other people. And it has worked, but I think it's running the risk of not working at some stage in the future. Yukoerna? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. The real problem, thanks very much for that super chat. The real problem might be, the real problem might be the act of the police during the sedition. How many people demonstrate against Trump and get clubbed to a pulp? We can guess. Could even end up with the military against people. Yes, so there are stories. What happened was Trump had put people from the Pentagon. Trump had put his people in positions of power. When it was necessary to call out the National Guard, to call out the police did nothing. The National Guard did nothing. Because they were told, the people at the top made the decisions. And those people at the top decided, no, we're not going to stop these people coming in. We're going to let them in. Now, I don't know the full story behind that, but I do know that there was some connection with allowing these traitors, these arsonists, these seditionists into Congress. Why the police stood aside was because the police were instructed to, and they were instructed by someone, and someone at the top who's connected with Trump in some way. That was the reason why they allowed the police in. The Metropolitan Police are prohibited by law from entering federal property. So it would have been the Grakok. So it's the, who would it be? The state police? Or no, federal building. So it'd be the federal police, the FBI. But the FBI are not. I don't know the situation in the United States. Most of the police leaders are Trumpists. It's the Capitol Police that are in cahoots with the insurrectionists. Clearly led by Antifa. Right. I still waiting to find out who's the leader of Antifa. Reported as IRA. No, I don't understand. Meant to say military versus police. Police is with Trump, military not. If police acts against people who demonstrate against Trump, it's police versus people. Thanks for that, Yukawarna. Conservator, thanks for that super chat. National Guard was ready, waiting, authorized from the president. In the end, Mike Pence had to give the command. The Secret Service. State troopers from Maryland and Virginia were waiting for permission to cross the border and act. Q is the leader of Antifa. I heard the leader of Antifa is... Oh, no, shush. Maximilian Robespierre. Shh. No, don't say that. My tentacles are everywhere. All over the globe. All over the flat earth, I should say. Next time some right-wing nut says Antifa, ask them what Antifa is short for. Yes. Democrat. Demorat. Or what did this... Something that really pisses me off about the Trumpists and the right-wing is they will say the Democrat Party. I said, no, it's the Democratic Party. No, it's the Democrat Party. even the ones who are interviewed on TV. Don't give away Max's secret identity. Okay, Hugo, fantastic. Yes, don't give away his secret identity on the stream. I don't know, Mike. I'm commenting on the UK. It's 1984 Hate Week. Antifa, create the enemy. Max is in the Ra. No, I'm actually quite critical of them. So, is Antifa led by Banksy? Yes, perhaps it is. Demon Rats is another. Oh God, it's like children. They call leftists both fascists and commies. That's how literate they are. Anyway, guys, we're over the time for the live stream. So this is sort of, it always ends like this. Like Boris Johnson with the Scottish Nationalist Party instead of Scottish National Party. Yes, Boris. I think the SNP should respond next time when Boris Johnson is talking, or Michael Gove, and say, I'd like to commend the corruption. I'm sorry, the Conservative Party on the great work they have done. Okay, guys, thanks so much for everyone who's come on the stream tonight. We're up to, I think it was 700 or 800 viewers. I hope everyone smashed that like button. We had a few trolls, of course, so thanks to the trolls for coming on. Even if trolls come on, it adds to the channel. That's how funny it is. So thanks to the trolls as well. A big thank you to the moderators who've done a fantastic job. And of course, a massive thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. They're greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you'd like to support the channel more, you can become a Patreon and you have access to Discord. And on Discord, we have our post-stream chat. We talk about the stream. We talk about all sorts of crazy things. And there's a lot of fun over on Discord. So I do recommend checking it out. And if you can't, I understand during this difficult time, it can be difficult to support the channel that way. But you can support the channel by just sharing videos on social media, liking, subscribing, all that sort of fun. So before we finish, of course, we have our one video for the road. And I want to bring this up now. So once again, have a great, before I finish, have a great weekend, everyone. But let's see this video from Janie.
Well, as Donald Trump Jr. clearly stated in the WhatsApp group, giant liberal libtard snowflake eagles were flying all over America and they were making people vote Joe Biden. So it was time for the Buffalo Badger Beaver Gang to turn up. So we got on all our buffalo heads and our beaver skins, organic water, couple of bags of falafel, me, Stevie, Big Davey and his sister Catherine. We answered the call to Donald Trump Jr. Don't let the big robotic eagles tell us what to do. We stormed the Capitol. Yeah, people got hurt, people died. But that's what happens in the revolution when you summon the Beaver Badger Buffalo Gang. We will turn up. I mean, Donald Trump knows that we are there for him. Joe Biden, he's out. That's it. We made our point. We smashed up Capitol Hill. We broke into the place. We frightened people. People get injured. People died. We now have Donald Trump reinstated on January the 20th. So, winner, winner, beaver dinner, job done. The giant eagles in the sky, the libtard eagles won't be controlling us anymore. We sure showed them. Any other questions?
Fantastic. Okay, guys, thanks so much for coming on once again. Big thank you to everyone who's come on, who's liked, who's subscribed, everyone who sent a super chat, greatly appreciated. Thanks again. And thanks again, of course, to the moderators, always keeping the stream on the straight and narrow. So, have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe. As Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. And I will see you all next time, next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe, for God's sake. Good night.